Alright everyone, before I get into the actual video here, because it's definitely enjoyable, I would like to announce that it seems that I'm going to be on the Timcast, actually, at the end of next month, the end of January, so I'm excited about that and can't wait. But this is actually a clip from one of Tim Pool's episodes recently, a couple days ago. He had Marianne Williamson aboard. And it didn't go well for the left. Just watch it. Watch the entire thing here, and you can see the exact moment that the spirit, like, dies in her eyes, because they're talking about the right to a fair trial. And Tim is kind of leading her into a trap, as it were, and saying, well, you know, do you think it would be acceptable to try a person at all if there's literally no possibility of them getting a fair trial? So there's no venue you can change to anywhere in the country where people will not be predisposed to find you guilty. Williamson obviously answers as most reasonable people would and says, well, no, that wouldn't be acceptable. If there's no possibility of a fair trial, it's kind of hard to even have a trial, which brings about its own separate conundrums. We can get into that another time. And it's correct. And then he says, oh, okay, what about Derek Chauvin? And you can see at that moment she's like, oh, are you really asking me this? Because she knew that she was not going to be able to answer to any satisfactory level. By the way, her presidential ambitions, if there were any that were possibly left, they died at that moment. And then she has to, like, squirrel around it, because remember that the judge in that particular case denied a venue change, as Tim pointed out, because it wouldn't matter where you change the venue to. There was no way that he was going to get a non-predisposed jury. I guess you could bring him out to Amish country. Maybe we should have a little insular population within the United States of people that aren't allowed to use any electronics. They live tax-free. We give them their own Luddite land. Everything is provided for them, but they can't use any electronics or, like, read the news and shit like that. So there's no social media. And then they'll just be the jurors for every major trial. You know, for any trial where a venue switch wouldn't actually work, like in the Chauvin trial, or, by the way, the Trump trials, one thing that probably should have been mentioned in that little clip, we'll just have a little group of Luddites. We'll have a town of Luddites that think that it's 1940 or something like that. We'll let them listen to shortwave or whatever. We'll give them shortwave radio. You know, tax-free. We'll pay them a bunch of money. We'll give them all their fucking free everything, and they'll be the jurors for trials like that. It's true, though. Derek Chauvin could not get a fair trial, and upon further visitation of the evidence, we realize that Derek Chauvin did not kill George Floyd. But the Supreme Court decided to deny him any sort of alleviation for his situation. They got stabbed in prison recently, stabbed half to death. Feel sorry for the dude. I mean, imagine that you're a cop, you actually are attempting to do your job, you are following the rule book, and you still get fucked in the ass. You got bad cops that shoot people for absolutely no reason, they get off scot-free, maybe they have paid administrative leave. Then you've got someone who actually is effectively doing their job, literally couldn't have saved George Floyd's life anyway because he was so doped up to his eyeballs on coke, fentanyl, and meth at the time. And then you end up in jail, and George Floyd ends up with holographic statues that depict him as though he was Martin Luther King or Malcolm X or something like that. Fucking Louis Farrakhan did a better job. Tim Pool absolutely destroyed her. I haven't seen a person melt down quite this badly in quite some time. I guess Kamala has had some bad meltdowns. Maxine Waters and a few others. AOC has a meltdown on a regular basis, but it's so common that we don't even look into it, generally speaking. Marianne Williamson, though, likes to cast herself off as, like, the likable Crystal Grandma. So she's sort of like the hippie candidate. Oh, no more war, Yoko Ono it up in this bitch and shit like that. But in reality, she's just a tough-on-crimer like all other liberals are. She don't want him in her neck of the woods. Derek Chauvin, she refuses to defend his right to a fair trial that he self-evidently didn't get. No, not for him. Why? Because her constituents wouldn't like it. This exposes her as just the politician that she is. She was unwilling to actually logically carry through with the reasoning she herself was using up until his name was mentioned. So I really, really like this clip again. Watch it in full. You'll probably want to watch it multiple times. Watch it at half speed just so you can see the exact moment that the light in her eyes goes away. and they cloud over, and all of a sudden you realize, okay, her migraine has already begun, and she hasn't even started in on the Hillary Clinton reserve wine yet. I thought it was great. Can't wait to be on that show. By the way, I got one chip challenges. They got discontinued because a kid died, but somehow I ended up with 5 of them. It's going to be an interesting time. Maybe I'll bring one on Timcast. I'll force Tim Pool to eat one. That'd be funny. He's probably already done it, but... no, Marianne Williamson, I tried to warn people for some time. She's an empty suit. She's trying to do the quirky thing. She's just trying to be a standard politician, but here are a couple of quirks. Well, you know, I'm a spiritualist. I'm not really into the religion thing, man. Yeah, I might have smoked weed a while ago. Probably she still does. She probably had a joint before this, and she probably definitely needed one afterwards. Instead, it was her getting smoked. She just tries to be a little bit on the quirky side. That's the only gimmick about her. It's sort of like Beto O'Rourke. Very, very standard liberal/left platform. I hate guns. I want to raise taxes. Tear down the border wall because, you know, fuck it. Who cares if the entire nation dies? That's fine. But I skateboard. Oh, by the way, did I tell you I used to hack computers back in the 1990s? Yeah, I really dab on them. That was his whole gimmick. There was a reason why he never got any traction. And just think, poor Ted Cruz almost lost against him. Can you imagine if he had gotten into Congress? Thank goodness Ted managed to scrape by with the Trump endorsement, which is literally the only goddamn reason he actually won. Marianne Williamson is much the same, and this happens over and over in politics. And don't get me started on the Republicans. There are plenty of people over there that have the same fucking problem. Hey, I'm a neocon, but I'm young, and I have reasonably good tits. Vote for me. That seems to be the selling point of multiple politicians at this moment. Of course, the news squad, at the very least, they MAGA it up slightly, like Luna or Boebert, some of these others. You know, people under 40, and they actually have some sort of principles. Marianne Williamson doesn't. By the way, people are calling Nikki Haley attractive. No. A hard pass on that one. Tim Pool rolled her up and smoked her like a fucking joint. It was very, very funny to me. That's about all. Peace out.